Howdy, folks. Wanted to make a video kind of explaining my thought process on what I do and what do I look for when I take notes. So I've got a example assignment pulled up here. This is the objective summary and selecting support assignment. So I'm actually going to read through this and kind of explain here's why I picked this as a quote, as something that I might take notes on and like actually copy down word for word, and how I kind of found that. So when you're taking notes, it's always important to kind of have a vision in mind of where am I going with this? Like, what am I going to do with these notes at the end? And so remember, for this particular research project, there's a number of things that you're working on supporting. So you want to be taking notes on background information, like why is this topic controversial? Why is this topic important even? And you might get like a piece from this source here and a piece from this source here. So don't expect to find all of these details in every source that you read, right? You're trying to read different sources to give you different views into whatever topic you choose. And then you should be thinking about your research question. So what is the question that you're trying to answer and explain from two different perspectives of people approaching that question, right? So if my question is what I have highlighted here on the screen, is homework an effective way to increase student academic learning and success in high school? Some people are going to come out and say, absolutely, homework is like essential for students to learn how to do X, Y, and Z. And then other people are going to come out and say, absolutely not. Homework provides, stress and anxiety and overwork and busy work, right? So people are going to answer this question in different ways. And my goal, at least for this particular research project, is to make sure I have quotations and ideas and explanations about why people believe those two different things. So if I find this article, first thing that I'm definitely going to do is always record the contact information and maybe even build that full citation if I feel confident that I'm going to end up using this source, right? So I'm always going to make sure I grab the URL. I'm going to be jotting down the author's name, and I'm going to be creating that full citation. If you don't know how to do that, make sure you check out mrrestad.com and slide on down to citations. Watch this video for full citations, or even watch this example video to show you how I create a full citation. And then I'm going to start reading this article. And ideally, if I have a copy of it, I'll read and highlight things as I go, or I'll read and see like, okay, this is interesting. But since sometimes we don't always have that online, what I've done is I've created a little note chart here. And so your note chart for this particular assignment might be a little bit different, but you can always set it up this way by inserting a table and give yourself a couple of rows and columns, right? So on here, I'm going to take notes. And on the other side, I'm going to do explanations, which is what we have in this box up here. And I think this is particularly helpful because sometimes I jot things down and I don't always remember, like, why did I think that was important? Why did I think this particular quotation mattered? And so just writing down my ideas at the time really helps me put my thoughts together when it comes to outlining and actually writing my paper, is keeping track of my thoughts and my reflections as I read. So it's a big, long process, right? And I also want you to notice the types of quotations that I'm trying to pull out here, the length of the quotations. Keep them short, right? A paragraph is too much. I'm talking like a sentence, 2 sentences max, and you're probably going to want to pare that down. Because I don't want to just copy and paste a whole paragraph and drop it in. I want to be selective with my quotation. I want to find the best way that something is worded, and I want to use it with purpose. So I'm going to start reading through this and just kind of talking through, here's what I think, here's what I would take notes on. So what is the right amount of homework by Yoki Terada? Many teachers and parents believe that homework helps students build study skills and review concepts learned in class. Others see homework as disruptive and unnecessary, leading to burnout and to turning kids off to school. So here we've got a great example of an introduction about why this is controversial. This is still kind of an introduction. We haven't gotten into a lot of details yet, so I'm not going to take any notes probably on this first paragraph. The National PTA and National Education Association support the 10-minute homework guide. So I might want to see how this links to something. That could be a resource for me to check out, and this could potentially become another source. So as I'm reading, I'm always paying attention to, like, what are other people talking about? How could this help my research? A nightly 10 minutes of homework per grade level. But many teachers and parents are quick to point out that what matters is the quality of homework assigned, as well as how it meets the student's needs, not the amount of time spent. And right there, I think that's the first sentence that I've read that's like really stands out to me as a strong argument, right? For people who believe that homework is effective, there's a qualification here that it's not the amount of homework, it's the quality of the homework. And is that quality meeting the needs of the students, right? So that's an important distinction to make. This might be something that I take notes on and give myself a brief explanation of here's why I think this is true. So you can kind of take a pause and read through why I thought this observation by the author is important. And then I'll just keep kind of reading it for that. And especially paying attention to like subheadings, so small benefits for elementary students. This could be a great example of like an argument against homework. Because if students are only getting small benefits from a lot of homework, is that really worth assigning that much homework? I don't know. I'll be trying to find a quotation here as I read. So as I'm going through this, young students don't often have the study skills to benefit from homework, so it may be a poor use of time. What if I kind of like that one? This is pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste all of this into my little note chart here. Bam. Because I wanted to grab the citations as well. Because if I'm pulling a quotation or a citation from another work, I have to reference both these people as well as the author themselves. So whenever I'm pulling information, I want to be grabbing where it came from as well, because this didn't actually come from Yoki Terada. This came from Cooper et al. And Marzano and Pickering. And so there's a special way to format that when we get to citations. So that'll be a different video. But just always make sure you're grabbing that citation information too. And so then a quick explanation, like I'm going to remind myself of, okay, why do I think this is particularly important? So I'll go ahead and put this in quotes as well, so I remember that it's a direct quotation. Explanation. Young learners may not yet know how to use homework to increase their knowledge of a subject, or even have the ability to do the work without assistance of a parent or sibling from home, right? So I'm kind of interpreting what I think this quotation means in my explanation. So that young student may feel lost or frustrated about homework and learning, or the assignment itself might be wasted time for that student, that person. There we go. So I'm just kind of jotting down my notes about why I think this is a particularly potentially useful quote to address the idea of homework. I'm going to do negative homework cons, right? So I'm kind of labeling this note as I'm taking it. So when I come back to it, I can easily see like, oh yeah, here's the side against homework. And then, label obviously other quotations that are in support of homework this way. So this would be homework pros. This one would be homework cons. So note taking is a lot about organization and is a lot about forethought, where it's like, where am I going with this? What am I going to potentially be doing with this at a later time? All right. So good luck, folks. Hopefully that kind of takes you through at least a little bit of the process that I think through when I'm collecting notes and organizing.